When you suspect your ADHD, it's easy to dismiss your traits. After all, wouldn't you know by now? Surely you're making a big deal out of nothing, right? Well, not necessarily. It's possible that you just don't know what to look for. So today we're walking through several very common ADHD experiences that are easy to overlook because they don't match the usual stereotypes. One of the first things you might notice is that you have a tendency to really affect people, but not always in the way that you would expect. Someone you barely know might have accused you of being too intense, too blunt, or too weird. They may even say that they can't stand you or ask, "What's wrong with you?" But then there's the other side of it. Every so often, you meet someone who is magnetically drawn to you. They'll say that the way that you speak or write or think is different in a way that they can't quite explain, and that they find you intriguing. Eventually, you realize that this is not something that most people routinely encounter, and that there is something that is uniquely polarizing about you. The second thing you might notice is that you genuinely don't know whether you're introverted or extroverted. Introversion and extroversion aren't about being shy or outgoing. They're about energy, whether you feel drained after socializing or energized by it. And for many of us with ADHD, that's where it gets confusing. You do feel energized while connecting, especially when it's meaningful, low pressure, or aligned with your interests. So you stay present, you contribute, you enjoy it. And because it feels good in the moment, you might even push yourself to stay longer, talk more, or stay on the whole time. That looks like extroversion, but here's the difference. What feels energizing at the time might still come with a hidden cost. Your brain is working behind the scenes by managing tone, reading faces, and suppressing impulses. It takes effort, even if it's second nature by now. You might not crash right away. You might just get quieter, more sensitive to noise, or need space to think clearly. So when someone asks, "Are you more introverted or extroverted?" you hesitate because when you're socializing, you do feel energized. You look forward to connecting, but you also recognize there's a cost. And that uncertainty over a seemingly simple question, that blend of energy and depletion, that's a clue. Now, a pattern many of us recognize before we even suspect neurodivergence is our relationship with work. No matter how qualified, motivated, or passionate you are, you keep running into the same wall. You start a job optimistic. You think, this time, things will be different. You like structure and want to contribute. And at first, things go well. The novelty gives you momentum. You're masking hard and you're learning fast. You're doing everything you can to make a good impression, but over time, that starts to fade. Masking becomes harder to sustain. You're tired, but afraid slowing down will make you look lazy. You're overwhelmed, but terrified that asking for help will make people see you the way you've always feared they do. So you withdraw, not because you've stopped caring, but because you can feel yourself slipping. You start avoiding conversations, avoiding feedback, and avoiding tasks that used to feel manageable. And the more you pull back, the more anxious you become. You're not sure how visible it is, but deep down, you're afraid everyone can tell. Eventually, you burn out or shut down. You quit or you get let go, causing this cycle to start over again. Each time, you try to fix it. You might change industries, try remote work, or find a job with better workplace culture. And for a while, it feels like progress, but the same issues come back. That's a sign because it's not about your effort or your attitude. It's that most jobs, how success is defined, how communication happens, and how energy is spent, are shaped around neurotypical norms. And when you don't know you're neurodivergent, you assume those norms apply to you. You don't know what support you need because you don't know why you need it. So instead of asking for accommodations, you keep trying to adapt yourself until eventually you can't anymore. Noticing this cycle of increased burnout in the workplace is what leads many of us to finally receive our diagnosis. The fourth experience tends to hit in your late 20s or 30s when you realize you're still doing things that once felt harmless, but now people are responding differently. You've always been a little scattered, a little offbeat. You run late, forget plans, or miss social cues. You might get a little dramatic or overshare when you're nervous. In your 20s, it was chalked up to youth, inexperience, or just being quirky. Back then, mistakes were expected. People gave you room to grow, but at a certain point, that grace period ended. What once felt forgivable now seems careless. Missing deadlines isn't brushed off. Running late stops being funny, and flaking on plans starts to cost you relationships. And as your peers settle into adulthood, getting promoted, starting families, building lives that look stable, you realize you're still scrambling, still struggling to establish a career, still living paycheck to paycheck, and still burning out over things that seem effortless for everyone else. It's not because you're lazy or irresponsible, it's because you were always neurodivergent, but no one saw it, not even you. What looked like immaturity was you coping in the only way you knew how. These weren't personality flaws, they were signs of unrecognized neurodivergence, never named, never supported, and never understood. The last experience you might relate to is that you never truly rest. Even when you're technically doing nothing, your mind is racing. You're lost in ideas, daydreaming about projects, replaying conversations, planning every detail of something that may never happen. You fixate, you rehearse, you problem solve, not because you're trying to, but because your brain won't stop. There's constant noise, but more than that, there's pressure. If you're not being productive, it feels like you're wasting time. Sitting doesn't feel relaxing, it feels wrong. You feel lazy, like you're falling behind. You crave immersion, but pressure turns even your passions into obligations. And when you're not being useful, the guilt creeps in fast, which means you rarely, if ever, truly feel at ease. Now, some of these experiences can be present in trauma, anxiety, and depression, but with autism and ADHD, it's different. It's not a response, it's been there since the beginning, shaping how you think, feel, connect, and cope, not just in crisis, but in every aspect of your life. It doesn't disappear when life gets easier because it was never about life being hard. It was about your brain being different. And when you finally name that difference, when you realize that these weren't random struggles, but a pattern that's been there all along, you stop asking, why can't I be like everyone else? And start asking, what do I need to do to live well in my brain? And that realization, it doesn't fix everything immediately, but it's a step towards self-acceptance and healing. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time.